Here are 5 things we want in an Xbox Series Slim. I've gathered the council here. No, I've just gathered Jimmy Champagne here to discuss what we would like to see in the whatever new version of Xbox is gonna come out. It's hard to think about really because like we just went through like a console shortage. I feel like right now is really when the Xbox is hitting its stride supply-wise. People are finally able to get their hands on it. It's not all about scalpers winning anymore, opting into like Walmart Plus and whatever Best Buy program they had. It was Total Tech, right? Yeah.
I feel like we're gonna get one sooner rather than later, and people are going to be pissed about it.
First of all, what's the naming convention gonna be?
I feel like they had it really well with the Xbox One. They were like the Xbox One original launch. Xbox One S was the white one, the one that I got at Target on a huge price error. And then the Xbox One X, which I also got and was like, why did I spend $500 on this? That was kind of dumb. But they had a good naming scheme with those 3 consoles. And then now they've got the Series X and the Series S. Hard to say, kind of too long. Where do you go next? Y and Z?
Or
so
X.
is it fair to say the first thing we want from the Series X Slim is a better name?
The first, yes, the one that I want is not confusing, but they have to tie it in to the Series consoles anyway to differentiate from the One consoles.
Yeah, if they're going to do a Plus model, I really would want it to be the Series X and not the Series S first. Like the Series S Plus can come out a little down the line when the parts that are in the regular Series X are cheaper, and then the Series S can be on par with that, and then the Series X Plus can be true 4K, not this checkerboarded stuff we've been dealing with. We can get that 60 frames per second.
on, man.
Maybe Dying Light 2 can run at 1440p 60 instead of 1080p 60.
Certainly that Xbox Series S Plus would be easier. I mean, just like slap on some more memory onto that thing and like a full terabyte instead of like what the 500 gigs that has right now. Call it Series S Plus, and then like maybe upgrade the GPU a little bit, maybe give it a disk drive.
I don't think we're gonna have to wait too long to see it. And then the second thing that I really want from whatever they do next is expandable storage that isn't proprietary with that little Seagate chip. I thought it was cool when it was announced, right? It brought me back to the nostalgic days of being a kid, having modular consoles, especially on the Xbox side.
Right.
But we have seen those prices not only stay exactly where they were at launch, they've also introduced more overpriced cards. So let's just nip that in the bud, copy PlayStation, put a little thingy on the back, little, what do you call it, tab, a little drawer.
Right.
Yeah, put a little
like,
flap on the back. So you can install an NVMe drive. Hey, you could even make it the 2230 size like you use in the Steam Deck, but making the expandable storage cheaper and easier to do. I think that'd be really cool.
Yeah, so essentially what we're paying for with these new Seagate SSDs are just like a really expensive version of what we used to have, of just like the regular memory cards that we used to have, like on the PlayStation 2 era. That was a big thing, and they came in different colors. I would say next thing, again, these are all like kind of small asks, I feel like, but a different color of the Series X. You know, we saw that last generation with the One S. It was white. It was clean. That was like a good looking console. And even with the Series S right now, I think that's very well designed aesthetically, from an aesthetic standpoint. I look at the Series S and I'm like, that looks nice. White
Series
color,
S looks fresh.
like, yeah, it looks like very sleek. You know, the exposed fan.
It would be
circle,
sick if they
I'm
could
like,
put
okay.
that into Design Lab. The Series S specifically, it's got that two-tone look with that, you know, the speaker on top.
Yeah.
If they made it so you could change the color of that, you could change the color of your Xbox button. Maybe you could upload like your own MP3 file for when you power it on. You could be like, get shit on. There's a lot they could do with the Design Lab on that. But yeah,
different color for the Slim, I would be really into. Design-wise, I mean, I really feel like
it looks cool.
it's
I don't hate the
low-key.
look.
Yeah, it's like, so I mean, where would you go from here to make it slim? I mean, like,
They could
make it a digital version of the Series X. I don't know, like size-wise, this is like pretty. I feel like in terms of next-gen consoles go, like pretty compact.
Yeah,
So-
back when I was working at Austin Evans' place, we went to Microsoft's headquarters, like for my job, and we got to see how this thing is constructed on the inside, and there is like not any room, so they'd have to like make a lot of the components smaller.
You know, it's not perfect, but it does a great job with the fan and the ventilation with this. and shrinking it down in any way, I feel like I don't know how they would manage that heat distribution, if you will.
Fourth thing I would like from these slim model consoles is a refresh on the controller. I think they're like 99% there, but people are expecting now what you've got in the DualSense controller, like better haptics, adaptive triggers, and Xbox actually was the first one to do the adaptive trigger type thing. It's not the exact same thing, but back when the Xbox One came out, specifically with Forza, they had vibration motors in the controller, like in the triggers. Obviously they had them in the controller. They had them in the triggers. So when you were playing games like Forza, I want to say 5 was the one that came out with the Xbox One, you would feel the revving of the engine and stuff in the actual triggers. And less games as time went on took advantage of that. And I'm not even sure if the Series X controller has those vibration motors, but it would be cool if they could work in some of the features of the DualSense, but not at the cost of battery life.
And I like the size of the current Xbox controllers as well. So like add those features, but keep it compact like it is right now. Ergonomically, it feels really great for me.
And sticking with the controller point, it would be cool if they made more special edition controllers that you could actually buy. I know that they were doing a lot at the beginning, right? Like they had a bunch of colorways, they had some tied into games, and then now it seems like you're getting a lot more controllers that you can win in a giveaway on Twitter instead of like actually being able to buy them. Like the furry Sonic controller.
Meme Sonic controller.
Yeah. It would be cool if they had more controllers tied into even third-party games. Like I really hope when Redfall comes out, they have a Redfall controller. I just think that would be really cool. I also am very hyped for that game. I'm glad Microsoft's making a first-party horror game. I would like to have a controller tied in with that. There's really no excuse for Microsoft not to have a controller for every first-party game they release.
Yeah, I think what we all want in Slim, Pro, whatever, Plus model is for sure, like we want more of this like next gen graphics stuff. I mean, the games haven't really caught up to that next gen level because they're still being released on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One and all those guys. But so like right now the Series X can go up to 4K 120 FPS. They could totally do that, but it's a little bit limited right now. Would you say that's more of like a hardware issue or like a game issue?
Yeah, it's definitely hardware. Like getting these games to run at that resolution and that frame rate is extremely hard. Like at home I have a computer that has a 3080, 32 gigs of RAM, and an 11th gen i7 in it. And 1440p is kind of like my sweet spot. I kind of try to sit there at 60 FPS, but if I wanted to play at 120, man, I'd have to drop 1080p, low settings. Like Doom Eternal aside, because that game is so amazingly optimized, there are very few games coming out that I think are really made to be played at 120 FPS. The only thing that I can think of that's like a great use case, ironically on PlayStation, is Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart. If you have a 120 hertz monitor with your PS5 plugged into it, there's a mode that activates in Ratchet & Clank where you can turn on basically all of the ray tracing features, get the highest resolution that you can possibly push it to. You can get all of the other graphical features, everything, like 99% there, but it runs at 40 frames per second instead of 30, which is what it runs at if you're in the fidelity mode on like a 60 hertz monitor. And the reason for that is 40 divides into 120 evenly, so they're able to show you a frame for the same amount of time each time a frame comes up. But if you're running at like 40 FPS and a 60 hertz monitor, you would see certain frames longer, which would look like stuttering. We're talking about this more definitely in the video on PS Ready, but that is a great feature that the Xbox has, variable refresh rate. I just think it'd be cool if more games included VSync. I didn't even know consoles could do this, but Ghostwire Tokyo over on PlayStation, which just came out, you will get this in a year because it's a Microsoft published PlayStation exclusive that has VSync included in its graphics mode. So like VSync is a PC feature where it stops screen tearing basically. Like if you lock your frame rate at 60, you go below 60, you won't see screen tearing. Games on console, I don't think traditionally have ever included that, but Ghostwire Tokyo has VSync options. So for people who don't have the hardware to support variable refresh rate, it'd be sweet if they had VSync.
Yeah, so like, do you think that with this like new Pro generation of consoles, whenever they come, for the PlayStation 5, for the Xbox, do you think we'll see like the true potential of these games? Like there's already people working on Unreal Engine 5. We know that the Coalition is hard at work on Unreal Engine 5 and implementing that in future games. Like, do you think these studios will finally have the chance with these these pro gen, like second wave consoles of this generation? Will they finally have the tools to unlock the power of the next gen consoles?
We are getting games that can play at 4K at 60 frames per second. They're just few and far between. I feel like it just needs a little bit more of a push though, especially with, like you said, so many developers using Unreal Engine 5. Like, that engine is built to be easy to use, run really well while looking really good. I think that's the engine that could get us to 4K 60 with just like a slight hardware bump, like a slight one. We're almost there.
But then we're in a situation, you know, if they upgrade the hardware to support more games at 4K, 60, 120 FPS, will we run into another supply issue of them trying to, you know, beef up these GPUs, maybe add in another teraflop to 13 teraflops, maybe?
Yeah, it would be cool. I know there's a pro model coming. Like, I just know it. You know that's going to happen sooner rather than later. They really want to get that mid-gen refresh out the door so that they can focus on the next generation. They want people to keep buying the newest, best, greatest hardware so that they keep buying games to support it. Of course, we're relying on developers to update their games to actually take advantage of this hardware, which some developers are better than others, but still, I think it'll happen. What I would really like to see is Microsoft partner up with Meta or Facebook or whatever to make the Oculus, with its Oculus Link technology, work with the Xbox Series X, because Microsoft's not going to make a VR headset. They had HoloLens, it didn't do that well. They had Kinect, which was like kind of in the same realm, like it was a camera peripheral. They didn't like that. You love Kinect. A lot of people didn't like Kinect. It'd be cool if they just said screw it and partnered with Meta just to get that thing running, because, you know, these consoles are just basically little gaming PCs. I think it could run most VR games at least acceptably well, and the Oculus Quest 2 has the ability to just work by plugging it into your PC already with a cable. I feel like they could just port that to the Series X and then partner up a little bit.
Obviously, we all want more graphics. Logistically, I'm not sure how that's going to happen. Jimmy feels pretty confident it's going to happen soon. It is around the time where
I'd say like 2 years.
Yeah, where we would get a pro version like 3-4 years into the life cycle of the console. Yeah,
like end of this year, end of next year is about probably when I would expect to see it announced, at least.
Right, but I feel like a lot of the features that people want updated for anything Xbox related is software based, UI based for sure. I have a really nitpicky thing where I want native USB micro support. I could plug in my Blue Yeti Pro to my PlayStation 5 and it'll work just fine, just like you wouldn't plug the USB into the computer and just go ahead and use it. You can do that with your PlayStation. You cannot do it with an Xbox. You got to have all sorts of like crazy attachment.
The PS4 has had that since it came out. Like, what? Yeah. What happened there? So yeah, a more unified audio solution across the board would be nice for the Xbox. You know, like just really, it's like, it feels like they're sitting there like they know they have to do it, but it's like the feature no one wants to work on because it's kind of busy work.
And I know a lot of people, the UI, the dashboard especially, is a big topic of discussion in the Xbox community right now. Yeah, I mean, people, the number one, not the number one thing, but some of the top issues for people are they want less ads in their dashboard.
Yeah, on the home screen.
They want smaller tiles, for sure. Widgets would be interesting. I always feel like widgets are a better idea than they are like something in practice. I don't know. Yeah, like when that whole update for iOS came out, where it was like you can like have these different widgets and really personalize everything. I was like, oh, this is awesome. I'm gonna do all that stuff, and then I never use them. And I feel like the ad algorithm on my dashboard is weird. Like I didn't see anything promoting Elden Ring up until like the day it released on, because usually it's like play like,
dude, it's weird on PlayStation too. Like you can set what games it shows you on PlayStation, but it's kind of out of the way and it never tells you can do it. But it's always like, here's what you can buy in Fortnite. You want some V-Bucks? Here's the new season of Fortnite. There's some Marvel characters there. Do you want to play Fortnite? It's like, I get it. I understand. Fortnite is big. I have never added it to my PlayStation account. I've never downloaded it. I don't know why Sony is pushing new DLC for a game that's not tied into my account
They want
at all.
Jimmy Champagne to play Fortnite.
I play
man.
Destiny
Get on
2
that Twitch.
all the time on my PS5. I have never once seen an ad for Destiny 2. You know what it gives me an ad for constantly? Far Cry 6. You know how many times I've played that on PlayStation? Once. I don't care about Far Cry. I play Destiny, I play Ghost of Tsushima, Death Stranding, Horizon. Never advertises any of those games.
People just want to perfect some of the features that are already there. For example, quick resume. That was a feature I was super excited about, and when it works, it is awesome.
So this feature is like if I'm playing an Xbox Series X game and I go to the home screen and I switch over to like an Xbox One game. When I switch back to that Series X game, it'll pick up right where I left it.
Yeah, it'll pick up right where you left it.
So I can kind of guess where that would be causing issues, like with online games.
Your Xbox will automatically try to put every game into quick resume, whether you want it to or not. And there are some games where, like I said, it just doesn't work. When I was playing through Scarlet Nexus, for example, I say this all the time, it just wouldn't work. If you like left it in the quick resume queue and you tried to boot it up from that screen, it would be a black screen for me. And I would hear the sound, but I couldn't do anything, so I'd have to just restart the game, and that's like a whole, I mean, total first world problem, right? But I just wanted to like jump back into the game as advertised, and it didn't work. There are some games that it works really well for. I just want it to work all the time and have a little bit more control over it, and maybe like just some more customizable settings like they do for every other feature that they have on there. You know, managing your storage, clearing like the local saves and things like that. I want the ability to kind of dictate what my quick resume has control over.
Well, that's all I got.
That's all I got too. But yeah, so you heard it here. Jimmy Champagne feels it in his gut that a pro version of each console is coming out soon. And it makes sense, you know, we are at around that time period where we're gonna probably start to see some announcements and some leaks and things like that. But those are some things that we would really like to see in these next-gen refresh consoles. And once again, Jim Champagne, thanks so much for joining me on this beefy weekend edition of Xbox Ready. Make sure you go check out his channel, Deck Ready, and if you want some PlayStation news, PlayStation Ready is always there for you.